back of Daha, the journalist came to me and asked me, "What do you want here? Because you are suspended." I said, "No, I'm not suspended." They said, "No, you are suspended." I checked with the staff. If they check, I was told that at about 2:15, the president has in live TV read my suspension on TV. So I was supposed to go there with Mkhwanazi to that operation, but I don't know what time. In the morning, I was told that Mkhwanazi was not going to come because so as I came back, I was then a suspended national commissioner. But the announcement was made as part of suspension that Judge Mohoro would lead the commission, that will check the fitness of the office. And then one had to sit and wait for that time to come. But at a later stage, it was changed from Mohoro and it was made Moloi from Free State. And I was told that the minister phoned the president and told him that the minister was too close to Judge Mohoro because she was working as one of the trustees of the Education Trust, which was chaired by Smangaliso Mkajwa. So they felt that he was too close, maybe it would be biased towards Cele. That's why they changed and they brought Moloi from Free State. I must say that commission was very much loaded against me. For instance, a person that has been my main accuser was Hlela, who used to be a commissioner of the South African, or who used to be a commissioner of police in Ciskei. And the prosecutor there was Noche, who used to be the minister of police in Ciskei. So Hlela and Noche were coming from Ciskei and they were prosecuting me. But one person that was there was Judge Madanga, who was one of the leaders of the...
He was the evidence leader?
Yes. And then finally the decision was taken. I was found not to be fit for the office, and then guess in 2012, then I was fired.
But we know that you subsequently challenged that decision. You took it on review, and it was granted in the High Court, although it was not opposed by the South African Police or the Minister of Police, and you were then cleared. But just to backtrack a bit, what would have been the motivation, to your knowledge, for your initial suspension and the subsequent inquiry that was instituted into your alleged misconduct?
Well, I don't know. Maybe it will be accumulation of being delinquent, because there were orders that I refused to take. Maybe the first one was to suspend Mdluli. Mdluli was suspended by me.
Richard Mdluli?
Yeah, Richard Mdluli was suspended by me.
Was he the head of crime intelligence?
Yes.
Sector? Yeah.
Funny enough, Mdluli was employed June when I was coming in July. And funny enough, is the only Lieutenant General I know that was interviewed by the panel of ministers. Usually it will be the officials, the DGs and all, but he was, I think, if I remember, there were about three of them. The one I remember was Mthethwa and Cele and the others. So he came there before the National Commissioner came. So that created some problem between the National Commissioner and the head of intelligence. And the head of intelligence mostly would be reporting direct to the president, which I don't think is a problem, but also reporting to the minister, which then I think is a problem, because it's a National Commissioner that is supposed to be reporting to the minister. The second one, I remember that both the minister and deputy minister, was Deputy Minister Amagula and Mthethwa, they came to me and they said they have been sent by the president and instructed them to tell me to fire General Shabalala. Sean Shabalala was the head of PSS. I didn't have the reason of firing him. Instead, I shifted him from PSS to IT. Where he went to grow the IT of the South African police. So there were quite some few of those things that I thought it would not be proper to follow all those instructions. I remember that one brigadier, Tau, he was fired when he was in Algiers en route to France in preparation of the trip of the president, and I refuse that he must be fired on that way without following. So I guess, this is my guess, that it was accumulation maybe of being transigent in some matters. It came to that, but I believe that the building issues had less or nothing altogether to do with that kind of firing.
So after you you were dismissed in 2012, thereafter you went back into, or took up political office again after that as a deputy minister of agriculture.
That was 2014.
Yeah.
After election. Well, there is an argument that people will say that the president was kind to me to take me back as a deputy minister of agriculture. Actually, that's the only time that I was out of the security establishment. I don't think so. I think either the people of South Africa or the ANC did take me back to Parliament. I remember that I was almost number one to every list that ever existed, provincial to national was number 10 and all. So there was no way that I guess somebody would have been ignored. And I remember that Minister Senzo Mchunu was going to be a premier of KZN, and he went to the president to request that I go back to province. So that we can strengthen the province. The president said no, he needed me nationally because he was going to give me a very crucial job. And indeed, I was a deputy minister of agriculture, which was quite crucial because one was looking after fish and forest. So, after that, then there were elections, or there was a conference of the ANC which changed the guard, and Ramaphosa became the president. And then we went for the election, and President Ramaphosa, and then appointed me then on February 2018. Remember, that was still the 5th administration. It was not 6th administration yet. It was the 5th. So I became the minister on the 5th administration for the first part of the year before we went for elections for the 6th administration. So there where then the question of this political killing task team comes in, because it was formed in the 5th administration, not on the 6th administration.
So before we come to your tenure as Minister of Police, can we just discuss or get your views briefly about the allegations that gave rise to the establishment of this ad hoc committee? The allegations made on the 6th of July by General Mkhwanazi, when he raised a number of what was clearly very serious issues within the South African Police Service. And given that you had spent a considerable time in the service, both as a National Commissioner and as a Minister, it would be of interest to us to hear how your response was at the time, if any. What did you think? Can you just discuss that briefly?
Yes, I was at the gym when I was phoned. At
the gym?
Yes.
Oh, you still got the 20%?
No, that was for the junior officers, not for ministers and the top brass. Those they don't have 20%. That comes from colonel down to the constables. So they still do, but I don't. Even as a pension, I still pay full amount. So I was at the gym when I was told that the Provincial Commissioner of KZN, Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, is making the appearance there. So fortunately I was towards the end, so the gym is not far from where I stay. So indeed I found him on the screen, but I could see that he was in a full gear, a full gear of special task force, with some members of task force and the members of NUU, and almost all district commissioners were seated, if not all, maybe one or two. And I guess there would be about 11 districts in KZN. So they were there. So I listened, and quite a big statement that was made on that particular day. And I knew some of the things that he would have said, and I would not know some of the things, as there would be more of operation. But I realized that one of the major problems was the issue of a task team that was dismantled. But I also knew that the task team has been dismantled because I saw the letter of the 31st December 2024, which I must say personally was taken aback by the letter for several things that one can explain how it happened.
Did these allegations made by General Mkhwanazi during the press briefing, did it surprise you? Did it take you aback? Were you, what was your reaction?
Well, some surprised me, especially when he called to be a criminal. That surprised me. But look, I'm not a police officer, so I would not know what is an investigation, what makes a police call the police that way. But whatever was said, I felt it had to be investigated further to find the facts on the matter. But in the portion that I did not know was the group of officers that have been sent to assist the investigations in Gauteng. I did not know that, which is not a problem, because as a minister, there are operations that you know, there are operations that you don't know. There are quite operations that are covert, that very few would know, that is accepted and known to the police. And there are those that they can be initiated by the minister because the communities have raised that issue. But the minister cannot go establish or disestablish. So you still have to go through the national commissioner for establishment and disestablishment. So there are few of those that I will remember. By the way, this one is part of it, though on a larger scale, because it was announced by the president, calling the interministerial. But there are some of them. For instance, if you go to Manguzi, there is a lot of problem between Mozambique and South African border. It's called Operation Kotwemvubu. That is ministerial, but established by the national commissioner. One big operation, quite big, is what is going on in the Western Cape. Initially, it was called Operation Thunder. To be Operation Lockdown, and that still continues. It's one of the biggest. I don't have figures of finances, but I can assure you that is not cheap, because while I was still there, in 25 months, we paid 116 million for that operation. And it has not been scaled down ever since up to this point, though it has changed the name. It's still continuing here in Western Cape as Operation Lockdown. So it's an operation where almost every second month, police from different provinces are invited to come in Western Cape, and all those police SC, they live in the hotels, 200 of them, and there was a negotiated price for them to be, which was 800 rands a night for a single police in the hotels. So you would imagine that is expensive for 200 people to sleep 800 rand a night in the hotel from 2018 up to this point, because it's still continuing. So it's not true that it's only PKT that has been operating and paying money for. There are other operations that have happened. This Operation Thunder is one big of them. One most expensive that is still continuing is Operation Valumkoti. That one deals with the illegal mining. Again, that one is not ministerial, is interministerial, because it was also demanded by the president, and the JCPS cluster sat down and invited other relevant departments. One was the Department of Minerals, because it was touching on them. It's quite expensive. I think that had to find billions to run, and those billions from the South African police were found from Kara. Were paid from Kara. Kara, if I'm not mistaken, is a criminal assets recovery account. So that's the money that is put there in that account, having been taken from the criminal activities, so that it finds the fighting of crime again. So I think it's quite expensive that most departments got some serious amounts. Big chunk went to the police. I think it was 1.2 billion to run there. The other one went even to Home Affairs to buy the equipment to cross the river. They demanded it, but when you go to that river, you don't see how can you use it. How do you use not a ship, these small things to cross the river? But it also is the first money that bought things like drones. I'm sure you have seen the drones. That thing came under that Operation Valumkoti. working on the illegal crossing and all that. I think that is still continuing. So again, it's a level of a cabinet by the president. Those two, Operation Valumkoti and the PKTT, they come from that level, and then they have interministerials.
So just still briefly on the July 6 media briefing, when General Mkhwanazi spoke about the infiltration into the criminal justice system, into the NPA, magistracy, the justice, judges, and this was sort of spearheaded by drug cartels. Was this new to you? Was this a revelation to you? Or has this always been the case? Or is it just a recent development or phenomena? Your comments on that?
General Mkhwanazi is not the first one who made this allegation of this infiltration. If I'm not mistaken, it was said by Judge Tulare here in Western Cape. I think I have.
Yeah, you refer to a judgment.
The judgment.
It's on page 6 of your statement, General.
Yes. Well, the members, I guess they have it, but the judge, this is before Mkhwanazi, where he says, maybe reading that the evidence further shows that the 28 gang and the mobsters in particular are breathing heavily on the necks of the public prosecutors, not only the police. He continues to say, these are prosecutors who guide the investigation of organized crime and institute criminal proceedings against its members. Such prosecutors are under constant and permanent threat to their lives and that of their close families. The evidence also shows that the mobsters have now moved gear upwards and are interfering with the decorum of the courts and the independence of the judicial officers. So this is a judge saying, not Mkhwanazi. So Mkhwanazi is saying this thing much later than the judge has pointed this thing. And testing the judicial oath of office, especially the word without fear. SC, there are things that frustrate if you work with police. Now, across the justice system, one major problem for the police is something called bail. Well, I'm always told that is a constitutional right. That thing is a mess. That thing called bail is a mess. You know, you go to Chembisa, you find a guy called BP. BP had 43 cash heists and 5 bails. 43 cash heists and 5 bails.
43 cases or 43 alleged?
43
alleged cases.
No, he takes the money. Maybe it's not alleged if he doesn't take your money. But, well, he's arrested now. But he has been arrested and getting bail, arrested and getting bail, and arrested and getting bail. So, police get frustrated with that. One major frustration was a guy called Ntuli, not this one. Ntuli is accused number 5 in the case of
Meyiwa.
Senzo Meyiwa.
Yeah.
Ntuli, as we speak, he's doing 6 life sentences. He was found guilty and sentenced, but got an appeal, or got the right to appeal and given the bail. When he has been found guilty and sentenced to 6 life sentences, still given the bail. And some of the people that he went after are those that gave evidence against him for him to get life. This is a bail, animal called the bail. So it's a problem for the police, but we're told it's a constitutional right. The second one will be non-cooperation of maybe prosecutors.
But just to pause there, it's a constitutional right, yes, because when you apply for bail, it's still just an allegation against you. Now, of course, we've got the Chapter 6 where it's murder, rape, robbery. Then the onus shifts to the defense, to the accused. But ordinarily, you've got a right to bail unless the state can show that you're a flight risk or that you're likely to commit the crime again, etc., or that you're a danger to the public. But what we need to understand, is the problem bail, or is there is it because, for example, the cartels and the which seems to be and the judiciary?
Yeah. And
the judiciary at first instance, very rarely, they hear bail appeals, but they don't, you don't go to a judge to get bail unless it's during the middle of the night.
I think Mlife's one was held by the judge, eh?
What's that, General?
TK Mlife one was. SC, it's a problem. I'm not a lawyer. I hear the Rashetul 6, the Rashetul 5, that if you repeat and all that, lawyers can talk on that. But I'm saying, if you are going for cash heist,
that is inclusive of the full member and the alternate, 1 hour, 20 minutes. So we will determine how far we run so that by the rise of the next day, we must have done a significant work. Thank you so much. SC, welcome back, General.
thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, honorable members, General Cele. We were at the meeting at the high-end Beverly Hills Hotel when you met there with Mr. Mbongoshi and Mr. Matlala.
Yes.
So when you were asked by Mr. Mpongoshi to meet, or rather, let me ask you this: did he tell you that you were going to meet someone interesting, someone of interest, someone important? What did he tell you before you went to the Beverly Hills Hotel, or did you just go with him?
Well, he wanted to see me. He's a KZN boy, so it's December, I'm sure we're all in holiday. So I have met him before, Mabonga. So I have met him before. So he has I think he has not a private security company himself, Mabonga. And then he did come to me and said, look, you're out of government. If you're in Joburg, you can use my services to take you from here to there. Though I haven't used much of his services, but like a boy, I see, I've said yes the once or twice. So Mabonga was quite easy, and we have been meeting with him.
So let me just...
So when he says want to see me, no many questions will follow from me to him.
And he comes in his private jet, did you say?
Who now?
Matlala?
I don't know how it came about. I don't know how it came about.
Oh, I thought I heard you said he... Yeah.
I think it does have a private jet. I think it does have a private jet because as he speaks, he's a person that would not have hours of coming in
Waiting at the airport,
Yeah.
in a lounge or in the public area, like us.
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
Not like you in the VIP lounge. But seriously, did you know of Matlala? Anything about him? Or did you know of him as a businessman, business person?
Is exactly what I'm saying, that I read about him 2 weeks before I met him, and I was saying to myself, when I continue to engage with him and I see him and I see his records, I ask myself, how did he manage to fly below radar for him to know? Because most of his kind, one would know. Before there is a story about him on the paper and the money, I didn't know him.
But now that you met him, what was your impressions of him? I mean, you've been involved in the police. I'm sure you have a sense better than us ordinary citizens about people you interact with, and especially a sense of, what they're doing. Is it the right thing or the wrong thing, or you at least have a suspicion about something? What were your impressions?
There will be two matters here, SC. As I've said, that he has really managed to fly below the radar. As I've said, that I would know Keke, I would know people like PP and other those guys. I know people like Mashobane from Ashratville and all that. So I didn't. Now I know him, I've spoken to him, I've engaged him. I had somebody being interviewed from Mamelodi saying he's a very good, kind person. They know he's a person that helps them. Looking at him from the very word go, remember, I've met here a person that I don't know has been arrested, has not been arrested. Looking at him, he looks a cool guy. As you definitely look at him, he looks a cool guy. Until you begin to hear, you begin to get records. For instance, I was looking at the withdrawn cases and all him with a new eye than the person that you have ordinarily met.
Okay. Now, were you aware, or did you know, or were you involved in the award of this 360 million rand Tswane contract? Because that tender was awarded during your term as Minister of Police.
Well, I think there are billions of tens that are issued from the police.
But not this big.
I don't know, but I wouldn't say it can't happen. We might come back to that. I wouldn't say it can't be that big. I think they could be big, but I don't know. But looking at the operations and things that are done, it could be some money with the tenders. For instance, I would guess that the tender of buying cars is big. I don't know how much it would be, but when police buy cars, they buy cars in a big way. I would guess so. I think the other tender that would have been big is a tender of laboratories. Once upon a time, we had a serious problem about laboratories, the DNA in South Africa. It was a mess. And you discovered that 16 contracts were not renewed. And I don't know how much it would take to renew those things. The IT is quite big, the IT with the South African police. The guns, the bullets. Remember, the bullets are not only chasing criminals. There's a lot of bullets that are used for training. So I guess that will be. But that does not reduce this, that is big. But I would not absolutely say this is the biggest. I guess they are big, but this one also, especially for the individual, is quite big.
So when you met him, you didn't know, or you weren't aware that he had secured this 360 million rand tender?
Indeed, after I've read 2 weeks before I met him, I knew he had this tender.
So you did some research on him before you met him?
No, it was an article in the paper that he is the guy that is got links with Tembisa issues has again won this big tender with another government department, which happens to be the police. So it was an article somewhere. I can't remember.
I think that was the article that appeared in News 24 about Matlala.
Well, I can't remember the publication, but it was on the media.
But didn't that arouse or raise your suspicions about him? Because that's what the article suggests, is that this is a person, this is a guy, who's connected. Forgive me, I don't know exactly what the article said, but if I recall, it suggests that he is not clean, that he's shady. And here you, as a former minister of police, you go and meet such a person. And we know that he's come to meet you to ask you for assistance.
As I've said, that when I met him for the first time, I asked if he's Matlala, and I was not told by Mabonga that who am I meeting. So, again, I have read that stories, but the stories and the man that is being suspected would have to be confirmed by talking and engaging after we have engaged, rather than to say, I read the story from you and then I run away. Especially in the environment that we work. Sometimes these stories you want to follow because you want to see what else can you do to reach the other elements of what you have heard, what you have seen.
Now, you say that is when he explained that he had been approached to fund a project by someone who aims to be the ANC president or deputy president, and the Minister Mkunu's name was mentioned.
Correct.
And that Brown Mkhotsi had met with him and Mr. Minister Mkunu. Why would they have mentioned that to you? You are now, even as we speak, I don't think Are you still active in the political arena? Why would they mention this specifically to you?
Who? Brown.
Matlala. Yes.
Because it says my name was mentioned. To say, we'll work well with you so long you don't work with Zuma and Cele. In that particular meeting. So that's one reason. Once you see me, he realizes that it's being abused. But the second one is an affidavit that was to be prepared to arrest Sibia.
Yes.
Not Sibia. Kumalo. General Tumsan Kumalo. Too many because there are other Kumalos that are still coming. This is Tumsan Kumalo.
Just one moment, Honorable Malema.
No, Minister, I just want just want you to confirm that you are still active, because the question almost suggested that you are no longer politically active.
No, politically I'm active. I'm still the member of the National Executive Committee of the ANC, and still have some activities in the province where I come from.
Okay. So
Okay.
that part of the information that Matlala was funding.
SC, just before we proceed, let me recognize the presence of the following two members of Parliament, Honorable Kobe from Action SA and Honorable Slepe from the MKP. Thank you so much, Honorable members, for giving yourself time to join our proceedings. You may proceed.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. So that would be of interest to you. This is a bit of political information that that Matlala